address that. Are things getting worse? Are things getting worse? Is that what's happening? And I want you to ask yourself that question. Are things getting worse? Do you think that things, and what I'm talking about is the police state, prison state, death state, murder state. How many different ways can you call it? Is the rape cages, are they getting worse? Are things more negative? Is that what's happening? Because the $1 million question is this: how much longer do Americans put up with this? You guys are watching the cover up in Youngstown with Struthers. You guys are watching it. I'll be in Ironton in a very short little while here. So, but there's this lingering question that has to be answered. Beastmaster in the house. So there's a lingering question that must be addressed. What is that lingering question? Are things getting worse? Does it seem like things are getting worse to you? And I'll wait for you guys to answer, because I want to give you guys my assessment. But before I do that, I want you guys to have clearly listed what your thoughts are, what you think about what's going on in the United States. Because I got a friend from Africa, and I spoke to him earlier, and he said to me, things are getting worse, Chille. Things are getting worse. That's what he said to me. And I always think about everything, whether I want to or not, which is why I don't accept a lot of influences from people, because I don't want it to go in my head and bounce around, and then all of a sudden I'm thinking about something that someone else. It's like a book, How many people do how many people here take a book recommendation? Just so you know, when someone offers me a book recommendation, what I think about is, do I want that data to go into my brain? Do I want to read that? Do I want that in my head? And I think about that before I'm willing to take a book recommendation. So I just want to take a poll here. When we get to 100 or a couple hundred people in here, then I'll tell you my thoughts. And so what I wanted to know, and I'll just repeat it again, is, are things getting worse? And then I'll tell you what I think after that. But I want to know what you guys think. I love that icon. That's really cool. I got to get gas here pretty quick, so I'm going to have to pull over and grab some gas. I don't have a choice. I got to do what I got to do. So what do you guys think? And then I'm going to tell you what I think, and I'm going to go into some pretty graphic detail here, as you guys have seen the past few days, that these pigs, what happens with these pigs is they have learned how to get around the body cam. They've learned to identify each other and say, I'm hot, I'm hot, I'm hot, I'm hot. I'm wearing a body cam, I'm hot, I'm hot. Don't say anything to me, I'm wearing a body cam. Do you think that that's the spirit of the law? Do you think that's what people think is a good thing? Is that why we have that? Hold on, let me just hide my thing here. And then I got something to tell you guys that's gonna just blow your mind. I mean, it should blow your mind what you're about to hear. So now that we got just 100 people in here, I'll tell you guys what I think. I don't think that things are getting worse. I think it's always darkest before the dawn. That's what I think. I think that we're finally seeing on camera how big of pigs these guys have become. Like Kent Freeman said to me on the phone the other day. Kent Freeman is one of those folks who we've helped file a federal civil rights lawsuit for. Kent Freeman said that it's gone so far bad that we gave these disgusting pigs so much autonomy and so much freedom to police themselves that what has happened is they don't know where the line is. To them, there is no line. There's no line. What line are you talking about? They have no idea. So are things getting worse, or are we actually just seeing everything now? That's a better question, but it gives you my personal thoughts, is that things are getting worse, right? It seems. And the reason why it seems like things are getting worse is because we get to see it now. We get to see the injustice happen in our country, and the judges have immunity, the legislators have immunity, the prosecutors have immunity, and the cops have immunity. And then we get to see the most atrocious things like ASD docs. He covered that story in Utah that showed the judges were all corrupt and nothing happened. Nothing happened. What happened was ASD Doc's channel got demonetized. That's why he now has Don Andre Investigates. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a system that is so corrupt that the basic understanding, the basic tenets, the pillars, the structure that create the foundation for ROL, rule of law, are no longer respected because greedy, evil men were put in power, and then they created legislation that made it so that they would be immune. Those in power would be immune. And that's why we're seeing it now. We're seeing it. We're seeing that they're so corrupt that they can murder us on camera. They can plant a gun, and everybody can say, oh, I don't know if that was a gun. Maybe that was a gun. Why are they guns on the floorboard? Come on. Sell that ride to someone in another planet, because I'm not buying it. I don't buy it for a second. Guns in the floorboard. Why are you popping your hand over a shield? The shield blocks the cameras from over there, so you can keep the gun behind it. The shield blocks your body camera, and then guns in the floorboard. Come on. How stupid do you really think we are? They just think we're stupid. And you know what, to be honest, just in case you guys didn't know, I've been traveling the country for over 6 months now. People are stupid. People are amazingly uneducated. And why is that? Because we don't have an education system that teaches you what rule of law means. That's why you have so many people going, oh, I'm for an anarchist system, I'm for a volunteerist system, because they don't know what the social contract even is. They don't even know what it is. They can't define it. They don't know what it is. And I find that to be irreprehensible. Not them. I'm not judging the people who don't know what the social contract is. I'm judging that we created an educational system so that we would keep people dumb, keep them uneducated. Don't let them know what the rule of law is, because if you understand the 4 pillars of the rule of law, the number 1 pillar is that government and its agents are accountable under. They're below the line. We're above the line. They serve us. They uphold us, is what it's supposed to be. That's why a holding at the Supreme Court level is what is held to be law. They're upholding the law, supposed to be. And the Supreme Court has been a bastard dog poo organization since it started. Now, the sun shines on a dog's ass once in a while, so once in a while they'll get it right. Houston versus Hill, they'll get it right in Thompson versus Clark. They're going to get it right once in a while. But then when you think about this, and just now, I don't care if you're pro-choice or you're pro-life, I don't care what you are, but let's just talk about Alito. So Samuel Alito writes an opinion to a case he doesn't have. An unelected, bootlicking piece of garbage writes an opinion for a case that there is no case. An unelected oligarch was appointed to the highest court in the land. He's been there for 30 years. And he has nothing in common with you and me. Are things getting worse, or do we just get to see it for what it is now? Now we get to see it for what it is, which is it's a scam. We're supposed to be a constitutional republic, a federal republic. We're supposed to have some semblance of democracy based on Republican representation. Republican meaning representative. And instead of that, we have 9 appointed monarchs that will tell an entire medical industry, nurses, doctors, orderlies, you name it, you have to take a mandatory mandatory medication. We said so. We, the 9 unelected oligarchs, have decided that if you work in the healthcare industry, you have to take a global medication. That we're now seeing more people who got the mobile medication are dying from that rampant bird flu than who didn't take it. Do you understand that? More people who took the global medication, and you guys won't hear this on the news, they're not broadcasting this. I saw this on Jimmy Dore. More people who took the global medication are dying from that horrible flu than the people who didn't take it. But it is too true. It is 100% true. Look it up. Look it up. And remember, I don't care which position you side on about the global medication. That's not what I'm debating with you guys here. What I'm asking you guys is, why are there 9 appointed people for life and they stay there for decades and decades, and then it takes an entire lifetime before their bad holdings will then make it so that... Let me turn off my ringer over here on my other phone. Put my do not disturb on. I just can't take it. I can't take the dinging and the ticking and the popping and the ringing. I just can't take it. I'm sorry. So it doesn't matter where you stand on it. I'm not trying to, my personal position doesn't matter. What does matter is, do you think there should be someone appointed for life, never elected, never runs for an election, handpicked out of high school and college to do the bidding of the Chamber of Commerce? Because remember, Big Pharmaceutical was making $58,000 a minute at one point. $58,000 a minute. You think that's right? And then the 9 oligarchs who we didn't vote for, that never ran for election, they're now creating policy, which is law. Just go to a store and have them tell you, no, that's our policy. Sorry, we can't. How long are you going to win that argument? When you go to Target and they say, we'd love to take back that piece of equipment that you bought, but it's our policy. As soon as they say policy, you lost. It's over. The argument's over. You bought that chainsaw at Target, and their policy is if you use it once, you can't return the chainsaw. As soon as they say policy, you go, okay, I'm going home. I'm going to go sell this on eBay because I'm not going to get what I want. They said it's policy. Once it's policy. So what does the Supreme Court create? They create policy. They create what is constitutional and what is not constitutional. So I'll ask the question again now that there's a couple hundred people in here. Are things getting worse? Are things getting worse in our country? Yes or no? Yes, things are getting worse. No, they're not. And what I'm talking about is the prison state, police state, death state. Just yes or no, because I can't read the comments that fast. And I got my self-driving car going, so it's driving itself right now. But I'm paying attention a little bit over here. Yes or no? Yes, things are getting worse. Or no, they're not. Yes, things are getting worse. Or no, they're not getting worse. Which is it? So far, I don't have a single no. I don't have a single no. Not one person said it's not getting worse. Is anybody think it's getting better? No, we are awakening. Yes, there's a couple no's. We can see it. It's a trickle-down theory. Gas is $5 a gallon in the Midwest. It's, in California, it's $8 a gallon. So things are getting, yes, worse, no, better. Just put that. So that's what and now let me give you my perspective, since there's a few hundred people in here now. My perspective is this. Things are not getting worse. Things are the same. We're just seeing it for what it is now. These filthy, nasty, disgusting pigs who sign up, they see YouTube. A pig signs up, he can see YouTube the same as I can. He can see the same. He can see James Freem videos. He can see Lackluster's videos. He can see DPN's videos. They can all see the videos. They sign up to do that to you. And so now what's happening is the cops are going, hey, we've been doing this the whole time. It's our policy to put you in torture cuffs. And you're like, no, I'm not going in torture cuffs. It's our policy though, for officer safety. Do you guys know why you keep hearing? Do you know why you guys keep hearing officer safety? Do you guys know why that's a thing? Why do you think the term officer safety exists? I have the answer. I'll give it to you. But first I want to see what you guys think. Why do you think everything is for officer safety? Why do you think that? Just tell me your answer. Why is everything for officer safety? John nailed it. But why? But John, tell me the reason why. It is because, so why is everything about officer safety? Just let me know why it is. Why is everything for officer safety? And it passes. How come they can create, you ever walk behind a pig like you're going to take him down from behind and bleed him slow, right? You're not. But if you walk behind a pig, he'll go, don't walk behind me, officer safety. And then it's like their policy that you can't walk behind a pig, because last I checked, people were taking down pigs from behind, right? No, nobody's doing that. So why do you think it is? How come it is that officer safety, they can create a policy around officer safety, and then that policy is as good as law? Why is it? But why? But why? I want to know why they can say officer safety and then it's a law. It is a law. It's their policy and it becomes law. Why is that? How come that is? Is anybody going to answer the question? I'd like to know. How come it is they can say officer safety and then that's pretty much just like the law? Why is that? I want to hear what you guys have to say. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good to see everybody. You got that right, the tribe. Cringe system. It's definitely cringe. That's for damn sure. It's cringy when you see what it is. So let me explain it. Let me explain it so everybody knows. Okay, but why specifically? And no, only a couple people have got the answer correct, but they haven't given me the reason why. It is because of Terry versus Ohio. Did you know that? Every time you hear the term officer safety, you have to think about one case and one case only. Terry versus Ohio. Terry versus Ohio, that put the officer safety above your civil liberties, above your Bill of Rights. The number one amendment in the United States is not the First Amendment, it is officer safety. And that officer safety mantra, that officer safety standard of the constitutionality of law is based on one case from 1968 called Terry versus Ohio. You get rid of Terry versus Ohio and cops can't create policy around officer safety. And so what did they do? After 68, Terry versus Ohio says that in the name of officer safety, that the police can lightly pat you down, frisk the front of your clothing, lightly tap to see if you have a gun on your hip or on your side, lightly tap. That's 1968. By 1972, 1973, it's become, you know what, turn around, put your hands on the car for officer safety. we're going to pat you down in a more thorough way. Police departments around the country, and here's the reason why each police department has a different kind of policy for officer safety. We can't have a standing army in the United States of America. So police have to be different autonomous organizations so that they're not an army. I'm not kidding. This is the reason why there's different police departments in America. And so now each different pig shack creates policies around officer safety. So by the early 1970s, the officer safety of Terry versus Ohio that started with a light pat now becomes turn around, put your hands on the wall. By 1980, the policy for officer safety is that you have to completely turn around, put your hands on the wall, assume the position, get ready to be patted down from head to toe, right? But they still weren't putting you in torture cuffs. Then, when the war on drugs is kicked in high gear by Biden in Congress, creating this bullshit about civil asset forfeiture, and I made a video called Power Corrupts, it's on this channel. Then Biden empowers Reagan using civil asset forfeiture, and the war on drugs now turns into that every single person who a pig is going to interact with is an active shooter, drug dealer, and even in the 80s, we still didn't have pigs. We still didn't have people dropping down and shooting a machine gun and killing these nasty, dirty pigs. It just wasn't happening. It's just not happening. Now, in Miami, it got pretty hairy in the 80s when it's kind of hard to blame Pablo Escobar because the CIA and the FBI was so deeply complicit in the lying, stealing, and drug dealing that, you can say it was Pablo Escobar, but it's just not true. If you read the 94 Mullen Commission, you'll see that cops are the biggest drug dealers in our country. Cops are the #1 drug dealers in America by far. It's not even close. So by 1981, Ronald Reagan comes into office and he starts to pitch this idea of civil asset forfeiture, that they will go in and they will take everything you own. If you have a car and the pigs see it and they want that car, well, all they got to do is put a little dime bag of cocaine in your car. They get to take your car under civil asset forfeiture. So now here's where things really start to twist and turn and get really crazy for us. Oh, I missed the God blessed exit. I don't think that's the right exit anyway. It is the right exit. Is that the right exit? I hope that's not the right exit. I hope it's coming up here. God bless America. So I don't know if I missed it. But so then I asked the question, are things getting worse, right? So now let me kind of put it all in a nutshell for you so I don't sound like I'm just going all over the place here. So Reagan and Biden won to it, Biden through Congress, Reagan as the executive, and they make it so that officer safety now means that they're taking on drug lords. They're taking on drug gangs. And that's their whole mantra, is that they're taking on drug gangs. So now the policy of police becomes, for officer safety, not only turn around, assume the position, and put my fingers up the crack of your butt, but now it's also, we're going to put you in handcuffs. And handcuffs were created to torture, and they're still torture, and they'll always be torture. Handcuffs are never not torture. Now, there's ways you can apply them so that it won't hurt the person. If you put them in front, you put them on loosely. But as you know, what the pigs do is they put them behind your back and they hurt you badly. So now you guys have seen the progression of how this has gone. And so you start to ask yourself the question, are things getting worse, or are we just getting to see it now that when you turn someone around and you put your fingers up the crack of their butt and then you put them in torture cuffs and then you're allowed to kidnap them off the street, that's excuse my language, that's fucking horrendous. You take their phone from them so they can't communicate. How many texts an hour do you send? How many times do you like or comment on Instagram or Facebook every hour? How many times do you text your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife? How many times an hour do you text your best friend? Right? You're in constant contact with others. It never stops. My phones, I have to keep my phones on silent because so much communication comes in, and I'm grateful. But at the same time, to me to have a coherent thought, I have to put my phone to the side and put it on silent so I can think. So now we're seeing now that I'm sorry, you guys, hit the like button. Reach over with your finger and hit the like button. It's right down there. Make sure you guys hit the like button. We got to try to make sure we grow and grow and grow. And so I'm going to have to find a gas station here pretty quick. So now what we're seeing, what we're literally seeing, is everybody thinks that it's getting worse, right? Everybody here, when I first started, and I said, are things getting worse or better? Yes, they're getting worse. No, they're getting better. And everybody voted. And nobody, I mean, there was 2 or 3 people who said, no, things are getting better. The reason why you feel that way, and the reason why I get discouraged when I see these things, is because now we just get to see it. That's all. The policies created by Joe Biden when he was in Congress, forced through with Reagan. You know, we still have the bullshit war on drugs created by Richard Nixon. Nixon created the war on drugs to lock up blacks and hippies. He said so himself. John Ehrlichman. Someone gave me the correct pronunciation of Ehrlichman. So thank you for sending that to me. They sent it spelled out. I say all the time, I'm not classically smart. I'm self-educated, and I just refuse to not know information. So we just get to see it. Does anybody disagree with that? I just want to know, does anybody disagree? It sure seems like things are worse, but we just get to see it now. How many people, tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. How many people were blown away? I was, to be honest, that Tommy Shithead Schieneman, he ran the whole set. Did you see that? And I didn't slow down the beginning. I posted the links in community. Those are WeTransfer links. They do work. Someone said they didn't work. They work. I think you only get a few downloads. So if someone wants them, I will re-forward the WeTransfer link to people. Editors, have a heyday. Take my video, slow it down, speed it up. Show that Tommy Shithead Schieneman ran the whole set. Was anybody else blown away? I was pretty blown away that they would literally go, I'm hot, I'm hot, I'm hot. Don't talk, don't talk. At one point, Shithead lost his head, and he goes, I mean, full body motions telling the other person not to talk. Because I think it was a conspiracy. I think that they murdered him, and a lot of cops knew they were going to kill him. That's what I think. I think multiple cops knew that Schieneman Shithead and that Matt Horse, Matt Haas, Matt Loser, Matt Gunplanter. I think that multiple people knew what these 2 shitheads were doing. Who disagrees with that? Who disagree with that? Does anybody? Anybody disagree with that? Who thinks that? Who thinks? Let's just make it easy. How many people think more than 2 cops knew about it? Yes, more than 2. No. Yes, more than 2, or no, only those 2 cops knew. How many people think that more than 2 cops knew about it? Yes, more than 2, no, less than 2. Because I can only read, I can't read more than a few words, so that's why I'm asking you guys to keep it super brief. Yes, more than 2, or no, less than. So it's you know, it seems like the general public here, and don't get me wrong, most of us here can't stand these filthy pigs, and I understand why. Because you've been tortured, you've been abused, you've had your brother, your cousin, your best friend, your lover put into the dungeon, been tortured, abused, sexually assaulted over here. How about you? So, right. So now what we're looking at is we watched Tommy Shithead Schieneman. We watched him control the entire set. I've worked in Hollywood for 20 years, so it's a set to me. It's a big set. They created a big set, is what they did, and then they murdered James Sheets, and then they planted the gun, and everybody knew it, and all the other pigs knew it. That one young little pig, remember how enthusiastic he couldn't wait to fist bump and like idolize Tommy, like, Tommy, you're the man, you killed that guy, you're the man. The just so you guys know, the temperament of the set, the temperament of the scene was jubilance. If you could define the vibe of that, of what happened, it was jubilance. It was overwhelmingly happy. Those pigs were so ecstatic. Even the pigs who had been there, the oldest pigs, they were like, yeah, man, yeah. I'm hot. I'm hot. I'm hot. And then that one pig, he had no idea what he was talking about. And he goes, did you get hit? You got hit in the chest, he says? And Tommy's like, no, I'm hot. He has to tell him, he has to explain to him that, no, I didn't get shot. I have a camera on, so be quiet about the murder. I mean, it's just, am I wrong? I mean, someone, dear God in heaven, I hope I'm wrong. But do the people here think that was a cover-up? I do have a few trolls who come in and say stupid things, but for the most part, it looks like multiple cops were in on that. And then, did you guys notice? And this was a very brief part of it. But did you notice how it was all about? Check my map here. I hope I'm on the right street here. Let me check my map. Yeah. Did you guys notice how they were so adamant? Did you notice how it was a joke that the one cop was supervising Tommy? They joked about it. Did you hear it? They're like, oh, thought you fell asleep back there. They were joking. Did you notice that? They were literally kidding. Like, oh, you're monitoring Tommy, huh? Yeah, I'm really keeping up with this guy. They're joking about what a shitty job they do, covering someone and by the way, we put in the FOIA today for the text messages and the phone calls. He said he talked to his mother and that his mother was mad at him. Do you believe that? Considering that her son was just shot at. Tommy Shinneman Shithead said that he got shot at. Did he get shot at? Who thinks Tommy got shot at? I just want to know that. How many people think that James Sheets pulled out a gun and shot at Tommy Shinneman Shithead? How many people think that Tommy shot? That James shot? Yes, he shot. No, he didn't. Yes, he shot, or no, he didn't. Just tell me. I want to know what you guys think, because I'm biased. I have my own perspective. I have my own position. So I'm just a cop hater, right? And it's true. I can't stand them. I can't stand them. Do I hate them? No, I don't. I don't hate them, because if a cop was getting jumped, I would help him, because I'm not for anarchy or chaos. I don't want to try to insult the people who think that anarchy is good. We have more debates to go, more things to learn, so we understand. So people don't think that James shot at Tommy. Is that right? Is that right? No, he did not shoot. Yes, he did shoot. No, he did not shoot. Right. So then it was a planned thing, because Tommy fell back and was like, he's shooting at me. Why did he fall back and say he's shooting at me? Why did they have a plant gun right there if it wasn't planned and multiple cops didn't know about it? I'm just reading your comments here. I'm just reading the comments. There was a high-speed chase. James Sheets had ran from the police before. And just so you guys know, you only have to go to the dungeon once and you might run yourself. You just have to go one time and find out how absolutely crappy it was. And then you never want to go back to the dungeon again. You only need to check into the Roach Motel one time before you realize that you think the rat pigs out here are bad. You think the rat pigs out here in the streets are bad when they know that they could be on camera, they know that some random person is filming, they know all these things. When you get behind the wall, you get pigs like Hanshaw in Ironton who are just cold cocking people. I heard a story about a guy who was getting down off of a bunk and Hanshaw caught him with an uppercut. Boom! And knocked the guy clean out. It's really easy to knock someone out when they're not going to block or defend themselves. It's really easy to do that. So, it's my assertion that things are not necessarily getting worse. It's always darkest before the dawn. I believe we are at the darkest point in our current history with a unchecked, non-transparent law enforcement apparatus that no founding father ever wanted. If the founding fathers knew that there was law enforcement in our country, law enforcers, they would come back to life and they would literally wreak a haunted hell on this country if they could do it. There was never supposed to be law enforcers in America. There was never supposed to be anything like that. It was never supposed to be this way. The founding fathers never wanted this. They did not want this at all whatsoever. They wanted a country that was based on liberty, that the government stayed out of your way, that the government had its apparatuses, but it was not intended to constantly cause you problems and strife. And just so you know, my friend from Africa who I was talking to earlier, we talked a little bit about that debate, and he said to me, and he has the coolest African accent. He said to me, Chille, and I can't do it, so I'm not going to try to do an Afrikaans accent. But he said to me, Chille, understand something. In every country in the world, in Zimbabwe, in Russia, everywhere you go, there's taxes. Every single country in the world has taxes. Every single country in the world taxes their citizens. We're the only country set up based on rule of law and freedom. We're the only country in the world that has both rule of law, Second Amendment, and freedom. We're the only ones. We're the only ones. There's no other one. Did you know that? And did you know we're the first one to ever do this experiment? There's been no other countries who have ever done this experiment where the people would get to vote for a representative. We're the first one. Did you know that? Pretty interesting. And we've only been around for 250 years. How's it going? How's it going? My friend from Africa said to me, if I didn't have wife and kids here, I'm trying to talk in the broken English he speaks in. He said, Chille, if I didn't have wife and kids here, I would leave. I would leave this country because we get to see the tyranny. We get to see the corruption. And so that was the principal question that I asked. Is it getting worse, or do we just get to see it now? Let's ask that one. You guys vote on there. Is it getting worse, or do we just get to see it? It's getting worse, get to see it. Put that in there so I can just kind of get it, what people think. Is it getting worse, or do we just... He's from Africa. He's from a country in Africa. Come on. It's not my first rodeo. I've been around for a while. If you couldn't tell, I'm fairly educated. So we get to see it. It's getting worse. We get to see it. I want to leave. It's terrible. Get to see it. Get to see it. Both. It's getting worse and I get to see it. Both. See it. We're seeing it. We get to see it now. Yep. Because just so you guys know, the reason why it's going to get worse, it's going to get even worse than it is now, is to get rid of these filthy pigs, to get rid of the pig organization called law enforcement. We don't want that in our country. We want peace officers. We want transparency officers. That's what we truly want. We want a system based on rule of law, that legislators, prosecutors, judges, and cops are held up to the standard of rule of law. They shouldn't have to... You shouldn't have to beg for the rule of law to be upheld by this government. And the whole principle of America is that we would be a nation based on rule of law. That's the whole principle of America. Did you know that? Did you guys know that? So you guys can think whatever you'd like. But the fact of the matter, the absolute fact, is that this country would be based on rule of law. That's what the founding principles of this country were, that the rule of law would uphold liberty. Read the Federalist Papers. It says over and over and over how if we have a federal republic, that will help protect rights better than anything we could possibly do if we just uphold the rule of law. And now, from 1951 till now, they've just created qualified immunity for anybody who has any power. And that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with it. This isn't the country that was founded. This is a tyrannical police state. This isn't the papers that our country was based on. James Freeman was correct. The Constitution has been killed. The Bill of Rights are dead. The #1 amendment in America is officer safety. Anybody disagree? The #1 principle of law is that officer safety is first. Does anybody disagree with that? Does anybody disagree with that? Chuck Bronson out of jail, buddy. Chuck Bronson. Chuck, make sure you do a fundraiser so that I can mirror your fundraiser and we could try to raise some funds for you, Chuck, for your defense. Chuck Bronson went to jail the other day. Make sure you guys subscribe to Chuck Bronson's channel. So, and I had this talk with James Freeman, and we agreed more than we disagreed. I still get people come over and call me a statist and ridiculous shit that's not true. But the point is we agreed more than we disagreed, and we agreed that this country has lost its soul because we no longer are a country based on rule of law. We're a country based on an oligarchy, tyrannical police state, prison state, death state, rape state, sexual assault state, where the moment you interact with this government, you got to go down and have your genitalia examined. Did you think about that for a minute? The moment you interact with the state, if they decide to kidnap you, they got to look up your butt. They got to look up your ass. I mean, they got to do it. They got to look up your ass. I mean, as soon as you get arrested from one little piggy being suspicious, they got to look up your ass, man. We got to do it. The government's got to look up that asshole. We got to, man. We absolutely have to. Get him in. And they're not sorry about it. They're not sorry. They're happy to make you, demoralize you, and dehumanize you, and make you feel like you don't count, like your life isn't worth anything. I gotta pull off and hope that. Let me just pull off right here and see if there's gonna be a gas station off this exit. I gotta find a gas station real quick, or I'm not gonna make it. Not gonna make it. Probably got about 5-6 miles left before I exit that right there. Just gonna find a gas station real quick here. Gas near me. I really hope this hits a gas station here, or I'm gonna run out of gas in the rain. I think this is a gas station here. I sure hope it is anyway. So, and then here comes the $1 million question, right? Who's looking up your butt? And what kind of expert are they on your anus? And why do they get to look up your butt upon suspicion of you? Why is that? How come that is? Why do they get to look up your backside the moment they're suspicious of you? How come? I just can't understand that. I just can't wrap it around my head. You guys hit the like button. Sorry. You got to hit the like button. I'm so sorry to ask you guys, but we got to grow as big as we can to get big and strong like the Jolly Green Giant. so that we can change this bullshit system of cops got to look up your ass the moment they arrest you. Got to look up that butt. Got to look up the butt. We got to. You know, we got to. We absolutely have to. If we don't look up your butt, then what are we doing? What are we doing? You know, if we're not looking up your booty, then why are we here? It doesn't make any sense. How you doing? There's that right there. Is there a gas station right up here?
Yes, you want to take 21 that to the far right, that road is right down there.
21, take right there?
Yes, it's $4.
There's a 5 right there.
Did you want a receipt?
I don't think so. Thank you. So just go to the right here?
Right, yep.
Thank you. I've been to Ashland, Kentucky. I've been over there. It's the same thing. It's the same police state, prison state, death state that we're all dealing with now. It's the absolute same thing. It's horrendous. It's just terrible. And that's what we're dealing with. You know, and just so you guys know, I've been doxxed, and so you know, everybody has my phone number. It's no big secret. Most people, I broadcast my number on several lives, but the thing is I won't answer your phone call. So you can call as many times as you want. I won't pick up my phone for any reason. I don't care who you are. I won't answer the phone. Okay, I found a gas station. I found a gas station. Yeah, you know, there's just going to be crazy people who are just going to call me and bug me no matter what I do, because I'm not going to change my number. I already have my number. You know, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep going forward. But, you know, I think that the resounding message, and look, as you guys know, you're not here because I'm Mr. Likeable. We know that. We know my ego's too big. We know I'm a bit of a dick. We know I'm a bull in a china shop, right? I know these things about me. I never claimed to be some amazing, amazing personality that everybody would want to follow me, right? And so you get to this point, I'll program this guy's number and I'll block him from my phone so I'll never get his phone call ever again. I'll program him right now as soon as I stop. So the reason why you guys are here isn't because I'm Mr. Character, Mr. Personality. You're here because for the first time in the history of this movement, what James Freeman was a pioneer in, Zane Kane, the guys over there at Cop Block, just pioneers in this. For the first time ever, we're seeing that we can change this system if you just stand up to it. If you just stand up to the tyranny and you turn the camera on these punks, that they can't compete with us. There's too many of us. You got to stop complying. Do not comply. When the cop says, get away from my car, you tell him, go pound sand. It's not your car. It's our car. You have the privilege of driving this car. But we have to get to the point where we are absolute fighters. And I mean peacefully. I don't mean violently. Because, and I just want to clear this up. The reason why I'm a tough guy to these pigs is because they've been ruining us for decades and decades, and they've been ruining us. They've been just ruining us. They've been ruining our country. They've been ruining us. You know, it's been just this horrifically bad, you know, police state, prison state, death state, and it hasn't gotten any better for decades and decades and decades. And that's what we're dealing with, and that's why things are so horrifically horrible. There is Apple Pay on this thing, so I'm going to use it. So, you know, I just wanted to talk with you guys a little bit and kind of have this conversation about what we're seeing and what we're dealing with. We're dealing with seeing it. That's my perspective. That this system won't last. There's no way it lasts. How can this system possibly last? How could it possibly last? We are seeing that these pigs have figured out a way to get around the camera system, to get around it. They've figured out a way to go, I'm hot, don't talk right now. And they can cover up James Sheets' murder by going, I'm hot, don't talk right now. Everybody just saw it. They just saw Tommy Shithead Schieneman was running the whole scene. He was running the entire scene. Does anybody disagree with that? Was Tommy not running that whole scene, yes or no? I think I may have fallen out of the, there it is. All messages are visible. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I don't know if I'm frozen or not. But it's just incredible, the things that we're seeing. It's just incredible. It really, really is just incredible. And it's not getting any better. It's getting worse until we actually change this system. Until we change this system, it's not going to get any better. Until we get rid of this bullshit system of oppression and murder, it's not going to get any better. It's just the way it is. Sorry if I lost you guys. I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere here. Did I lose you guys? Are you guys still there? It's been stuck on 492 for a minute, so. I'm holding it near the card reader. It must have cut out. I don't have any responses from anybody, so it must have cut out. I will cut this here then. I will cut this right here. I can't see if anybody's watching or not. I'm sorry. So I'm on pump 1 here. I'm going to fill this up. Okay, listen, I'll cut it now. Just food for thought, and I want you guys to think about it and share the ideas that we're getting to see the tyranny now, and that's probably part of the problem. So I'm going to get the flock out of here. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for coming by, and just remember, we're not stopping because we don't stop. I'm out of here. Later, guys.